at
my
us
God.
in the
Back?
evening. We're
I
back,
know.
everyone.
Freshly
We're back.
showered.
Oh, I can't say that. But you can't smell me. I recently
yet.
showered. Recently showered. It's not fresh, though. It's not
Recent
fresh.
could be, even 2 days ago,
Well,
3 days ago.
it's a little more recent.
Hi,
recent than that.
and welcome to CNC in Conversation. I'm Claudia.
And I'm Christy Guerrero.
Cheers.
What are you having tonight?
Well, it's in my Penn and Teller commemorative glass.
Oh, nice.
I was watching your Instagram live. Did anybody see her?
First one. My first one ever.
And I saw your very fancy little martini glass, and I was like, well, let's do a first edition of this.
Tumbler. And
this old Penn and Teller, $60
and Tom
glass.
Bartos. Thank you for joining us, Tom. Congratulations on the Penn and Teller. I decided to pull out the fancy drink. It's Empress Gin and lemon juice and rose simple syrup and some soda. Just making it up.
Following that same liquor, I have a gin and cranberry juice. And it's actual cranberry juice. It's not cranberry juice cocktail. It's quite
so you're having gin and juice.
Gin and juice with a little limoncello.
We've got Rudy Dratt. Thank you, Rudy Dratt, for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jack Dolph, for joining us. Thank you so much. Thanks.
That's my dad.
If my mom's watching, she won't know how to comment. Prove me wrong, Mom, or at least prove that you're watching.
Just say something. Say
something.
To your daughter. I mean, once.
Could you please?
In your life.
By the way, we're not insisting everybody have an alcoholic drink.
No,
mocktail,
coffee, tea.
They don't care, but we just want you to be comfortable. That's the important thing for this. Yeah, these shows, CNC in Conversation, is just about that. Like, just having a conversation. We want you to be comfortable. So, Cafe Q is here. That's right. Welcome, Cafe Q. Love you all. Thank you for joining us for tonight.
Of course, Mom, don't have a Dr. Pepper. Oh my God. You guys, tell my mom to stop drinking Dr. Peppers.
Everybody write in and tell Shirley Dolph not to have Dr. Pepper.
Oh my God.
All right. Now everybody's telling us what they're drinking. Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you. Well, we're just happy you're all here joining the party tonight because we are very excited to be back for our season 3.
Mom.
Now she's backtracking. She's backpedaling and saying she's having water. Dave Foley says, I just figured out how to message, so I have to drink. No, Dave. No
one drink alcohol. Don't
no.
drink alcohol. No, Dr. Pepper.
Back away. Oh boy! Now everybody has to tell us.
Too much responsibility now. It's so hard.
Now I feel responsible. We're not drinking. I'm just gonna go back to my water.
This is just straight up cranberry juice for my lady parts. Okay.
We don't need to know that. We really don't need to know that.
That's good. Oh no.
Dave. Oh God.
Damn it. We're about to kick off birthday month too. Your birthday.
Yeah, we are.
Tomorrow.
It is. It's tomorrow. So thank you all for joining us. This is the best birthday present I could have. And as we have sort of mentioned, this is our first episode of season 3. We've been on a very long hiatus. We were all in during the pandemic. And then as things started opening up, we were like, nobody's going to be watching at this point, and kind of let it go. But now we're like, you know what? I think it's time.
We miss talking to people.
We did, because this is the way we find out. Yeah, we find out about the people that we admire, and we get to pull more stories out and find out on a personal level more about them. So it's very exciting to us.
Everybody's drinking cranberry juice now.
Thank you for the birthday greeting. So we should say, as you can see, people comment. You can comment via Facebook or YouTube. Leave us a comment later on or during the show. Actually, you will have an opportunity. We will select some questions to answer for us. You can ask us. You can ask Linda. Or we haven't announced our guest, but it says so on the screen.
They can see it.
And you could win Linda Richman's very, very excellent book.
Yes.
So I guess we can say now, our guest tonight is the fantastic Linda Richman, who has had such a storied life, much
incredible life.
Experience everywhere, and it's going to be so much fun to talk to her. But seriously, her book, I'm gonna show you the book cover because you should really. Okay. Oh, because I got to go here. That's why. I'm still after all these years. I'm still learning the tech. Okay.
Wow.
I'd rather laugh. How to be happy even when life has other plans for you. With the forward by our friend. It does. Forward by Rosie O'Donnell. I love this quote up here. A healer who speaks to the heart. A wonderful book. Deepak Chopra.
Yes, and I listened to the audio. I think we both listened to the audiobook, right?
We did.
I love it when the author reads their book because I get a real sense of them.
Yes, and in this case especially, you are really not doing yourself a favor if you don't download the audiobook because to hear Linda Richman's dulcet tones reading you her story is there's just nothing better, and it made it all the more enjoyable to have it coming straight from her mouth. I think we could bring her on, huh?
Yeah, sure.
I think so. So Tom Bartos. Okay, everybody, thank you for the birthday. We do have our first question already coming in for Linda is, who's Linda's favorite person? I have an idea who wrote that one.
Let's ask her.
Tom Bartos is very confused. He thought it was Linda Ronstadt tonight or the Lindas. I'm kidding. Let's bring on the very wonderful Linda Richman.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to answer that question.
Are you sure? RR.
Yeah, was that the name?
Yeah, RR22, if that gives you any hints.
It's her, my daughter. The favorite person in the whole world.
Of course.
So it wasn't one of us.
So, I mean, look, we haven't done the show yet. Maybe after the show, we'll move on, we'll edge up.
I'm taking notes.
Thank you.
Oh, no.
Great. Now Claudia and I have to compete.
I have no notes. Okay.
Well, as we said, you wrote this beautiful book in the wake of your grief, losing your son, Jordan. Heartbreaking, something I don't think anybody can imagine that kind of pain unless it happens to you. And you find a way to, while discussing this heart-wrenching thing, to find a way to make us laugh throughout the book. I mean, obviously the title, I'd rather laugh. We know your perspective, but to me, it's just incredible that you were able to do that at all. So I'd just love to, I'd love to hear, first of all, what gave you the idea to write the book. I mean, I know you were very helpful to a lot of people in doing so.
Yeah, and I'll tag on to that really quickly. Like, I get very suspicious and kind of get my guard up if I hear the things that you were saying, but say from, somebody who considers themselves a guru or something, but there's something so grounding about your actual experience and you actually, narrating the book that just, I was like, oh, there were some things that we'll get to it, but there were a couple of things that I was like, but how tell me how. Like fun, like you say in your book at one point, like,
Yeah.
fun is so important, and it is, and I love to have fun, but I find myself getting into the cycle of not going out to pursue and watch and receive the things that I love and that are fun to me, because I'm tired or I'm overworked or whatever. And I know it's good for me. And you were saying, go have fun. It's so important. And I'm like, but how?
How is different for everybody. I think that my daughter was the force that made me go and start looking and searching, because I didn't want her to have a depressed mother. I had a depressed mother. It wasn't fun. And I think Robin's been the reason I wanted to live. Because, after a story like that, the cops come to your door and tell you that your son was killed in a car accident. You go, all right, I'm going to die. That's just it. I'm just going to die, until you look at your surviving child and you go, nope, not going anywhere. But I don't know how to get anywhere. It's not like I had a map. And I went to all the gurus, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Deepak Chopra. I went to Wayne Dyer. If there was a guru, I was guruing. I
Yes.
was free. And
Yes.
I got a little bit out of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out that they're all full of shit. So that was help for me.
There was a passage where you said every therapist, guru, and spiritual guide is nuts. It's like,
Yes, it's true.
that tracks. That tracks. Yeah.
It was perfect. And Robin sent me on a vacation to Canyon Ranch Spa in Tucson.
I looked it up.
Yeah, someplace.
Yeah, I was like, how do I live here?
And I said to her, why are you sending me here? I don't bike, hike, swim, do tennis, do anything. She said, you're going to love it. She said, there's a therapist there who is a miracle man. She said, he's just brilliant and funny and smart, and you should go make appointments to see him. And his name was Dan Baker. And I made the arrangements to meet with him, and I walk in. I'm from New York. I'm from the Bronx. You can't get lower than that. And I walk into his office. He's wearing cowboy boots, a cowboy hat, a denim shirt, and I'm thinking, am I allowed to curse?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am so fucked. And he had a pickup truck outside his office, and I thought, this is going to be a waste. And we started talking, and he stopped me in the middle, and he said to me, do you know that you're full of shit? I said, excuse me? He said, you're telling me a story about somebody who doesn't exist, which was my own self. He said, that's not what's going to be. And I love that. I love when people tell me, anyone who's watching this, if you ever tell me I'm full of shit, I'll kill you. But at that moment,
that's what you needed.
at that moment, it was the best thing that someone could have said to me, because I was mired in depression.
Mm-hmm.
And I started seeing him every day, and he basically saved my life. He told me constantly, what a fool I was, and that, my reactions to things were all in my control. And I thought I had no control. And he became my guru. And I found out yesterday, that he just died.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And I was sorry too. I was very sorry. I spoke to his wife. And I told her, he saved my life. I wouldn't be who I could be. And I've always loved to write. But I wrote thank you notes. I wrote birthday cards. I never wrote a book, but I decided I'm going to write something. And I'm not a writer. All right. But I figured
I beg to differ.
Oh, I beg to differ now also. And I wrote this book, and I called a publicist who called a friend, who called a cousin, who called an uncle, and they got me in to see this guy who loved it. And he said, let's shop it around to the biggest guys, Simon and Schuster and whoever else was around at that time. And I went to meetings, and Warner Books gave me an offer that I couldn't believe. And Rosie O'Donnell, I hope Rosie's watching this. Rosie O'Donnell's books were published always by Warner. If I'm wrong, Rosie, you'll call me later.
She can comment.
She can comment. And she said to me, take the deal. Take it. And based on my faith in her, I took it. And it was more money than I'd ever seen in my life. And all of a sudden, Canyon Ranch had me lecturing every week. And the first time that I had lectured, this is all coming back to me. The first time that I lectured, 232, I'll never forget that number, people came to the lecture. And I was so scared. Oh my God, what am I going to say? I had nothing written, as a lecture. And I got up there and did my lecture. People were laughing, people were crying, and people came up to me afterwards and they said, you were wonderful. Nobody loves to hear you're wonderful better than me.
Don't I know it?
Oh, yeah. But the next night, 500 and some odd people showed up based on word of mouth. And I became their number one lecturer at the ranch. And I was there for 2 years, 2 glorious years where I learned how to speak to people. Keeping in mind that I don't have a degree in anything. I have a high school degree, and I got 100 on my steno exam. That's not exactly.
I couldn't do that.
Exactly. And then I started, I remember being in front of the entrance to Canyon Ranch, and a woman came up to me and she said, I heard you speak last night. You were wonderful. And I thanked her, and, oh, yes, I'm wonderful. I'm thinking to myself, yes, you're just wonderful. And she said, would you like to speak for my company? I had no idea what she was talking about. She said, I'm president of this company, and we do this lecture once a year, and we have the entire company come. And I said, where? She said, Portland, Oregon. I'm from the Bronx. We go back to that. Portland, Oregon, I didn't even know it was on the map.
AKA Hippieville.
Hippieville. And she said, and we pay well. I said, what does that mean? I didn't know that you get paid for these things. And she told me the amount of money. And I said, what time should I be there? She said, we'll pay all your expenses, your airfare, your hotel, your food. And I spoke for almost 2 hours because I was long-winded at that time.
Oh, then.
I got paid this incredible amount of money, which I had never seen before. And that just started this thing where I got calls from everybody. Will you speak for Microsoft? Will you speak for this one? Will you?
Wow.
And I just traveled every week to another city. And I was raking in money. So I moved to Queens,
We'll step up.
really step up.
We have confirmation, by the way. First of all, Tim says he has Rosie's books were thinks they were published by Warner. He has all of them. So Rosie, somebody has all your books. And then Rosie said, "I'm here, Linda. It's all true." So yes,
She calls
you were
me
correct.
a liar all the time, so
So now you know it's true. It's all true.
yeah, she's been a very important person in my life, and she knows it. I adore
Yeah.
her. But her,
Well,
So when you, oh, go ahead, Claudia.
no, I was just gonna say after after listening to it because we've just formally met, and but I found myself not only feeling inspired because everybody experiences loss and tragedy, like you can't get away from it. But to varying degrees, but also feeling very proud of you that you got through all of this stuff. Like it's a lot. It's a lot, and it really says
Yeah.
something that you could be so vulnerable to talk and write about it, and to also be here with us
Yeah.
today.
To be
thank
present.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you don't
Yeah.
get rid of it.
Right.
You find
You're
a place
right.
for it.
Right.
find-
But
yes,
it's
and
always with you.
that's a very important distinction, I think, too,
Yeah.
because I think, yeah, you learn how to live with it. And one of the things that you say in the book, which was one of the earlier quotes that I was like, yes, pain, nobody wants it, everyone gets it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's true, and it is in varying degrees. We all have grief from something or another that will come up in our lives, and I just love that I mean, it wasn't instant. I know that it wasn't instant that you were, I'm just going to laugh through it. No, it's not. It wasn't like that. But that you found a way to that you found a way back to laughter and being able to have joy in your life and enjoy life as well.
Well, I had a mother who taught me a lot of lessons. She was always depressed, always. And I said to myself, I don't want to be that woman. So she was my inspiration. Is that something?
Yeah.
Women who think
Ironically,
about-
right?
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not, but I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I didn't know how you do it.
There's no
How do you get out of
handbook,
that
right?
dark hole? And the light was always to be okay for my daughter.
Yeah.
And she saw through it. She knew that I was a phony, But you fake it till you
Yeah.
make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you talk about that, the mind body connection, like all those studies that have been done about if you fake laugh, that eventually you start to feel the benefits from the laughter, and it kind of speaks to that. It's true. You fake it till you make it, right? So
That's what everybody has to do. I mean, or you can sit in a dark hole for the rest of your life. I consider myself very lucky in the fact that I met guardian angels. They didn't even know that they were guardian angels. My daughter knows she's my guardian angel. And
Of course.
Rosie, who we were talking about, doesn't know what she gave me. She gave me somebody else to love, all right, another human being. And she had adopted a son, at this time, and I became part of the family. And
tell us how that happened, because I love this, actually, this story.
Well, as I recall, and Rosie will correct me at any length, Rosie had met Robin on a plane, and they exchanged numbers. I don't really know that part. I don't remember that part. But Rosie called Robin and said, I adopted a baby, and I have to have a thing to go to, and I haven't hired a nanny yet. Do you think your mother would babysit? And Robin said, of course. And I went over to her house and slept in the room. I slept with her in the room with her son, and he was an angel. He was a doll. And when she came home, I took a cab back to my apartment, which was at this time, I was living on the east side of Manhattan, and she was on the west side. And the next day or a day later, she called me. She goes, I hate to ask you, but I still didn't get a nanny. Do you think that you could babysit? And I said, absolutely. And I babysat, and he was fussy that night. Rosie, this is my story, not yours. Uh, and he was fussy that night, and I fell asleep, and she didn't wake me up. And the next day, I woke up and I was in her apartment, and I swear to you when I tell you, I don't know if I ever left. I was with her after that for the rest of my life. I went in and out. Every time she needed me, which wasn't a lot, she was never abusive. Whoever that is, lovely. So she's a part of my soul. She's just my daughter from another mother.
Isn't that fascinating though? Like you said, she helped you so much, and you, what you found your way, in writing this book, how many people you helped and are helping still get through their grief. And that somebody like Rosie didn't know, you were saying she probably doesn't know how much of an angel she was to me and how much she meant to me, but like how lives intertwine in that way, right? To better us,
Absolutely. It's like I've known her all my life, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And I think I need a lot of self-help. As we know.
Let's talk, darling.
Well, I mean, the same though.
I took a lot of notes.
There were so many things. I was like, I'm definitely a person that I've dealt with depression my whole life, and I'm somebody who wants to just hole away and not talk to anyone. Like that's my but I know that now. Like I've been through therapy and stuff like that. So, that's my first instinct is just to shut the doors, don't call anybody. I mean, Chrissy knows that I'll just like go away for a little while.
But that's normal.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen an injured animal, what do they do? They roll up into balls and lick their wounds, and they don't, associate with anybody else. And that's really great for the animals, and it's great for us too, believe it or not.
Yeah.
There's a time that you need to heal.
Yes.
All right. And it's not necessarily depression. It's time to heal. So you do what you have to do, but you don't stay there.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the important part.
You've got to one day wake up and say, all right, this terrible thing happened.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to live the next whatever years like this? No. What do I do? And I swear, without my daughter, throwing me a lifeline, I never would have done anything. Did I read?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm a voracious reader. But going to the ranch, to Canyon Ranch, and my life exploding in the most positive way, was like, what the hell is this?
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you had to take that time to be there and just be doing something that took you outside of yourself in order to start healing. As Claudia knows, and anybody of my friends watching right now, I deal with things by like power through, and then all of a sudden my body will be like, stop.
Yeah.
You must stop. And then it's like, because I will tend to like, I'm okay, and then not give myself the time to just like go through it. You're going to be okay, so I think it's important what you did to, going to Canyon Ranch and taking that time for yourself to explore a new way of dealing with it. And it led you to the rest of your life,
The truth, Chrissy, is I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just did it, and then I started looking at it and went, this is unbelievable. I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then then I went and became a therapist. I went to Massachusetts somewhere where they were giving courses on becoming a therapist. And they said to me afterwards, would you like to be a participant? And I figured, they're trying to get my money. Screw them. I said, how much is this going to cost? And they said, nothing. We'd like to give you a test and see if you pass the test, and we send it to the proper people, whether they did or not. I don't know if they sent it to Disney or to, a real therapist. But I became a therapist, and then I started seeing people privately. And I would only see people who suffered loss, because that's all I really knew.
Right. And that's when you talk in the book about one couple in particular who had lost a son, I believe. And this is where you started talking about fun. Like, it's not going to take away the grief. It's not going to do anything, but at least you're going to have some fun if you give yourself that chance. And they were a couple who used to square dance back in the day and hadn't done it in many years. And you encouraged them to go back home and start square dancing, so that at least they had those little moments of joy. And I think that's so important. So important. I think that's excellent advice. Yeah.
It's very important. And actually, I got a letter from them years later. I don't even know how they found me. Just a thank you note, a little thank you note. It was lovely. It's lovely when you know that you've touched somebody's life and you've helped them. And it's a miracle, because I really didn't know what the hell I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing.
Well, you're doing something right. I mean, you are somebody who's gone through, the things that you talk about in your book, you're so open, which Claudia mentioned, and I love that, your vulnerability in the book, sharing all the adversity from the time you were a child, even, that, I to see where you started and where you are today, I think is miraculous. It's kind of miraculous, and it really speaks to your grit and your determination to be there for Robin and for yourself, just to stand up for yourself and be there.
And ultimately, Mandy Patinkin.
I'm gonna get
I like this. You'll get him. You'll get him soon. I think that this is nice, Tom. For all my friends going through tough times, I try to remind them that they are someone's hero. Sometime in your life, you did something big or small that makes you a great person to someone else. I think that's absolutely true, and I think that's true of you, Linda.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I had a hero. Yeah, I did. You're gonna plots when you hear this one. Me.
Who?
I was my hero.
That's fair.
I didn't have examples, so I had to do whatever it was that I had to do.
Yeah.
That was my hero. And of course, the little girl who's watching this now. She's always been my hero.
She's a good
my
one.
daughter, in case you're interested.
In case you're wondering, in case she hasn't mentioned it.
But that's something, though, to be that self-aware, to know this isn't how I want my life to look. And this is how, even if you don't know what you're doing, but I don't want it to be this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty, I don't know, that's very impressive to be that self-aware, I think.
Well, you know what it was? I had such a depressing childhood with a mother who was always depressed, and she was always going to the hospital for shock treatments. And as a little girl, I would take the bus. I don't know how anyone let me do this, and go up to the hospital after she had a shock treatment or 2 or 3 or 5. And she wouldn't know me, or sometimes she knew me, but shock treatments, affect your mind.
Yeah, they wipe out part of your memory.
And I wasn't going to be that person. I fought not to be like my mother.
Yeah.
I let my sister, I loved my sister, and I let my sister be the daughter. I said, you be the daughter. And there was 7 or 8 years between my sister and I. And I said, and I'm going to be the little girl. I'm just not going to, fold on this one. Yeah. And I didn't even have language for any of this. I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as Tom Bartos says, you don't have to know what you're doing. Just have to do it, I guess, right?
You try until you fall down.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a later in the book you talk about your pilot for your talk show. And
I know.
it's
Yes.
you don't need to tell the whole story because I want people to get the book and listen to you tell the story.
Yeah.
But what I loved this is what I loved about it. Then I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Is what you said is fulfilling other people's expectations, no matter how flattering they are, paves the road to disappointment. You have some gems in this book.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Like
I have no idea.
that right there, I think, certainly speaks to me.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of us are always trying to live up to what somebody else we think, not even what somebody else might want, but what we think somebody else might want, and it doesn't serve you. And you found that out the hard way with your pilot.
Hard way. Absolutely. Well, I was going to be this big celebrity. Warner, what
No,
was it?
you
Disney.
are.
What was that?
I said, no, you are. You still
I
are.
am, but I always was. And so are you. And so are you. Disney put together a, what do they call it? A talk show. A pilot is the word.
That's Tracy and Easy, Linda's assistant.
And I got a lot of big names to come and be on the show. And Rosie being one of them. Hello, Rosie. And I was awful. I was really bad. And the middle of it, I get a phone call that my mother died. And I went, oh, the woman has fucked up my life in so many ways. Now she's dying. And we had to stop filming, and I flew to New York. And I remember at the cemetery me saying, this life was not good, Ma. And I hope not to see you in the next one. And then I flew back to California. And Disney told me, we don't have space for you right now, to put together a series. Oh, I had Maria Shriver on the show.
Oh,
I was awful. I was awful. It wasn't my milieu. But I wasn't upset. That was the best part. I found it hilarious. First of all, I found it hilarious that they wanted me to do a TV show. Where do I come off? I have no experience in anything.
and listen, it's not your thing. It's not your thing.
It
Like,
wasn't my thing.
No.
I would watch that show though. Let me tell you,
Oh,
I would watch that
100%.
show. I would
watch
absolutely
it
watch
once
it.
or twice, and then I would watch some game show. Don't get attached.
Okay, can you host a game show? Maybe you should host a game show.
No, I'm leaving that to Rosie. I would want nothing to do with show business. Nothing.
Nothing? No?
Nothing. Except
Not even if it means meeting your favorite. Well, let's do a little dive here. It's not a dive. There's two pictures. Well, first of all, I'm going to go here. So I showed the book. Again, I'd Rather Laugh. Find this. Again, the audiobook is on, what is that called?
Audible.
Audible. All right. Tell us about this lady.
There we go.
Oh my gosh.
To this day. It was her birthday the other day.
Yes.
And you would think it was my birthday. It was like August's birthday.
Yeah.
It was, look, she's a Jewish girl from Brooklyn who lost her father when she was a young girl. She had God in her voice.
Yeah.
All right. And she made it. The world fell in love with her. She was no raving beauty. She was just an ordinary girl who could have been my girlfriend, as you see. Uh, and we went to Vegas to see her, and she couldn't have been nicer. And I remember walking into the room where they escorted me to see her. And I walked in, and Robin was in the room also. But I looked at Barbara and I said, I have to kiss my daughter hello. I haven't seen her in 2 weeks. And I went and kissed Robin hello because the truth is I thought I was going to faint.
Yeah.
So I held on to Robin, walked back to Barbara, and a friendship for a week was forged. I ate dinner with her, I ate lunch with her.
Oh my
If I
gosh.
didn't show up one day, she called. I remember her calling Robin, where's your mother? Well, she wasn't feeling well today. I mean, I still love her. I still
Yeah.
do.
And you were a fan of hers from early days.
Very early.
Yeah.
You know, I saw
Yeah.
this homely Jewish girl from Brooklyn with a voice of God. I had everything that she had except the voice of God. I wasn't a beauty.
Yeah.
I wasn't talented. There was
I
so
beg
much
to
I
differ
loved.
again.
I'm very talented. I forgot that part.
That's right.
And it was a dream come true. It really was a dream come true. And I met, a lot of celebrities, but this wasn't a celebrity. This was a
Oh,
goddess.
she's on it.
Yeah.
That's
That's
a
different.
level.
Yeah. Definitely next level for sure. Yeah.
Look how happy I am. Fat
You're
as a horse.
totally. Yeah. I'll add it back. Yeah. Smiling ear to ear. Look at you. I mean,
I know.
Well, like
Totally.
I was telling Chrissy last week that I'm a big fan of Michael Crawford also, and I had this cassette tape of Michael Crawford's
Are
greatest
you the
hits.
only one?
Perhaps.
Michael
But
Crawford, I haven't heard that name since 1904.
But he has a duet. He sings "All I Ask of You" with Barbara, and I still know all of her harmonies and her runs. Like, it's the most wonderful thing.
Would you like to sing it for us?
What?
Would you like to sing it for us?
Oh, do it, Michael Crawford.
Nobody can even know.
let me be yours. La, la, da, 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 da. There you go.
Yeah, forget it.
It's hysterical. Michael
Yeah.
Crawford, I've never heard that name in
Oh, a
years.
dream. He lives in Australia now to be closer to
I'm
his
so happy.
grandkids.
I'm so happy for you. You can just get on a plane and go to Australia.
We understand.
Right now.
We understand. I'm gonna bust your chops. You've been stalking Mandy Patinkin.
Yeah, I have.
Mandy,
I really have.
come on.
All right, here's the story as it started. I was working in Manhattan many years ago. This is right after my son died, and I wasn't functioning like a normal human being. But I worked near the theater district, and I saw there was a sign, Mandy Patinkin in dress casual. I never heard of Mandy Patinkin, and I had no idea what it was about, but I bought a ticket. And I went to the matinee of this man with God in his voice. And I went every single day that he performed. I never heard a voice like that. I never saw a man he sat on a folding chair and he just sang. There was no shit, there was no anything. It was just this godlike voice that came out of this Jewish man from Chicago. It's like, I never saw anything like it. And I fell in love with his voice. I really did. And then during the pandemic, he and his wife had their little series. It wasn't little. I mean, it's bringing him great rewards. And I watched it over and over and over and over again. Each thing that he did, I what is that noise?
Sorry.
Tracy.
Tracy!
About Mandy right
fired.
now.
She is so fired.
We have some food.
Um, so I just fell in love with this man's voice.
Yeah.
And as I said, during the pandemic, I watched every single episode. And I have a thing that I have to watch things over and over. It's probably a mental condition. Over and over and over and over and over again. Like once is never enough. So and I actually think I'm related now to him. I mean, I write to him every day and he has the blue check and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I'm going, Mandy, you were fabulous. Mandy, you were this. Man, nothing. The man has not written back.
We're gonna
Mandy!
This is my goal.
Mandy! Come
Make
on.
this happen.
It's just rude at this point. It's just rude.
It's rude. Because I'm a good fan. I really am.
Yeah.
You know, think about it.
He
Streisand
should
and-
be so lucky. Yeah.
That's right.
That's right. Have you as a fan. One of the other stories that I love from your childhood is how you would go in to see Broadway shows. Could you talk about?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. I was about 12 or 13. I can't remember. But we couldn't afford, the theater. And on Friday nights, after, the school day was over, my girlfriend Ellen and I would take a bus to the train when Manhattan was safe, and we would go and stand outside a theater. Didn't matter which theater. And we decided we're going to see every show on Broadway. And we did. But we did it in an unorthodox way. Since we didn't have a ticket, we waited till it was, what do they call that? What when they stopped the show with the Act 2?
Oh, intermission.
The intermission.
Intermission. I've lost my mind. Intermission, people used to leave if they didn't like the show or they didn't like their seats. And Ellen and I would slide into the theater and go sit down. And I actually saw every show on Broadway. And one day the manager of this one theater said, "Girls, I see you every week and I know what you're doing." He said, "You don't have to do that. I want you to come into the theater and see a show from beginning to end." And he led us into the theater, and I don't remember the name of the show, but it was a big movie star and a fat English guy who was very popular at that time. And it
Orson
was a
Welles?
show. Excuse me?
I don't know. I'm just
Orson
trying to
Welles.
No. I wish I had my computer with me. I'd look it up. And we saw a whole show, and this man said, "Would you like to meet the star of the show?" I never met a star, and I didn't even know he was a star. He's from England, and it was a very intellectual show. We didn't even know what it was about. And this man took us backstage, and we met the actor, who was nothing but charming. And when we finished meeting him, we didn't even ask for autographs. We weren't smart enough. The man said to me, "Would you like to see whatever show it was?" And we went. I said, "We better not. Our mothers are really going to be upset with us." And he said, "I'll invite your mothers with you." And our mothers were invited with us to see the next show. And this man couldn't have been nicer. And I don't remember the second show that we saw, but I remember my mother and aunt, thrilled that we girls had something to do on Friday nights. And we went and saw every single show for free.
I
Never
just
paid.
I love it that he just recognized how much you loved the theater and
Yeah.
wanted to help you. That would never happen today like that. That would
He
never.
was probably a pedophile, and I didn't know it.
Well, now you've ruined the story.
Listen,
No, he
it's
was
fine. You
nothing.
got to see a free show.
He
Fine.
was actually lovely. He was lovely. It was quite an experience. First of all, we would go back to school, my girlfriend Ellen and I, and be show-offs. We went to the theater Friday night, and we saw whatever it was. And we saw this and that. And the kids didn't even know what we were talking about because they weren't theater geeks like we were. They didn't care.
Wow. how
They're like
lucky.
dorks.
Dogs, right. Exactly.
Wait till you tell them about Michael Crawford.
Oh my. Oh my. I will say, Claudia's got a long list of those kind of people that she's a fangirl of.
Who else are you a fangirl?
Well, I mean, my parents are watching, so I'll throw them under the bus. We were only allowed to watch like old movies. We listened to a lot of musical theater records, like Fiddler on the Roof was constantly on. All the Danny Kaye movies. I mean, so my tastes are often weird and not of my generation because I just didn't watch. Like I had to watch Goonies as an adult. I didn't watch Goonies as a child. Things like that. So, yeah, I mean, Michael Crawford's a nice, good crush. Jonathan Frakes from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yep.
David Letterman
Yeah,
was a big
well.
crush.
David Letterman.
David Letterman.
Yeah, big crush when I
Big
loved him
crush.
when I was a kid.
Big crush.
Have you been in therapy?
I have.
It's not work.
So I love Danny Kaye so much also, and I remember I was co-hosting the show many years ago, and a comedian whose line is it anyway? What's his name? Greg
Proops.
Proops. Greg Proops. We're sitting around a table. Greg
Sounds
Proops.
like a bowel movement.
You should tell him that. Greg Proops goes, just so you know, Danny Kaye was an alcoholic and he beat his wife. And all you women love him. And I was like,
And the other
okay.
thing, which was scandalous then, is that he was gay.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I figured.
that's why he beat his wife.
And drank a lot, I guess.
Sylvia
Drank a lot.
Kay. What was her name? Sylvia Kay? Something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. So it was
Well,
like,
great. Now you've ruined Hans Christian Andersen.
Yeah. It's like, thanks a lot.
Well, my mother rated acts that we saw on TV if the comedian or singer or whatever was Jewish. If they were Jewish, we had to watch it. If not, we didn't have to watch anything. They had to be Jewish.
Rudy Drat wants to know, is it true that Suzanne Plachette was your stunt double back in the day?
I actually have a story about Suzanne.
Look what you've done, Rudy.
No, she wasn't my stunt double.
I think he means vocally. Vocal stunt
I
double.
know. I related to her because she was from Brooklyn. And again, she was Jewish, which was very important in my house. You had to be Jewish. And I came to visit in California, and I went to Nate and Al's for lunch, and it was mobbed. And they said to me, "Would you mind sharing a table with someone?" And I went, "No." And they bring me to the corner of the restaurant, and it's Suzanne Plachette sitting there. And I'm saying to myself, whatever you do, do not faint. please don't think, because she was on the Bob Newhart show at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
She was a big
Yeah.
deal, and she was beautiful, beautiful. So, and I didn't want to play the game of, oh, Suzanne Plachette, I can't believe it. So I walked over and I said, do you mind if I share it? She said, no. We sat down, we talked, and we started chatting. And she told me she was from Brooklyn. Her father ran a movie house there. And I said, and what do you do? And I knew that I was lying badly. And she said, did you ever see the Bob Newhart show? And I said, yes. And then I went, oh, I can't believe it. I said, I'm so sorry that I didn't remember. Which was a blatant lie. But it was better than being a fan. I didn't want her to think for 1 second that I was absolutely
Hilarious.
dying. So we chatted, had a lovely lunch. We parted ways. I never saw her again, but I had a story to tell.
Oh,
Oh,
that's so
yeah.
cool.
Suzanne Plachette.
Wow. That's incredible. I was just given one more photo to share. By the way, if anybody has a question and wants to win a book, please put that in the chat now, because we're going to be
Yes.
wrapping up soon. But before that happens, I want to show this photo. So Linda keeps saying how she's, like Barbara, she's not a beauty. Well, we beg to differ, Linda.
That was my high school graduation picture.
Look at that. Look how gorgeous you are.
I
You
never
look like a
knew I
movie
even
star.
looked like-
Oh my God, adorable.
That was cute.
Beautiful. Yes.
And then life happens.
It happens to all of us.
And
But
by the way,
yes.
if anyone wants a book, they don't have to pay for it.
Nice.
Well, yeah.
No,
That's
it's a
Nice. Well, great. Now that I've bought the Audible, thanks, Linda.
gift. No, you I would charge. I said
Fair.
Anyone watching the show,
Fair.
not hosting.
Yes. Okay. I think no questions. Anyone? No. I think everybody's fulfilled. Everybody's already saying. Marjorie wrote earlier that she has already bought the book. Now she just ordered it while we were talking. So she does not get a free book.
Marjorie Proctor.
Yes, she's a dear friend of ours.
Is she a designer?
She is not. She is an educator and a dancer.
She's a dancer.
The dancer.
Yeah.
She looks very familiar.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe you've met her. I don't know. You might have met her.
Maybe.
Um,
Is she the only
but-
one watching?
Definitely not. Definitely not. We've got lots of people. We've got Pammy in the audience there. We got Rudy. We got, Marjorie. Yeah. Definitely people watching tonight. And Linda, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. This has
My
been
pleasure.
so much fun.
It gave me a chance to wash my hair and put on some makeup.
Me too. That's what I did.
I guess I'm the only one who didn't get the memo.
You don't need to
No,
know.
Chrissy, you should wash your hair more than
I have
you
very
do.
oily hair, but we'll talk another time about this.
Same.
I promise I'll tell. And thank you.
No, thank you so much for coming. It's been so much fun to talk to you and share. I know you on a personal level, but it's so much fun to share you with everybody else who has not had a chance to talk to you, because you are something special. That is
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Could you tell that to my daughter?
Robin, come
Right
on,
here.
Thank you so much.
her
This
own
was fun.
hero. Oh, well, thank you so much. Well, thank you everybody for joining in. Those of you who would like to donate to our Streamlabs to help us with expenses, that's streamlabs.com/studiocc. We thank you. Also, you can follow us on all the socials, Instagram and Facebook, and our YouTube channel is Studio CNC. So please follow us
And
there.
Our
Our podcast.
new episode out today, and we are as soon as this drops on Wednesday, I will be posting this in our podcast as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen
So Claudia has been uploading all of our past CNC and conversation shows. So tons of great guests. And now it's the cherry on the cake with Linda here. So thank you all so much for joining us. And Linda, thank you. Goodbye, everybody. Adios.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Claudia.
Goodbye.
Bye.